Alright, in this video we're going to discuss the tool offset page on our NTX 1000SZ. I'm going to split this up into two videos, one handling the head 1 offsets and one handling the head 2. The way you toggle between the two of them is right here, head 1 or head 2. You'll always want to make sure when making offset adjustments that you're making sure you're on the right head. So first let's look at a turning tool, number 6 here. Number 6 is being used at B0, so there's no angle call out. You'll see all these others have an angle. That's where it's actually being used at in the program. The number here tells us which tool number we're using here. X here on a turning tool is going to be measured in diameter. Now the way that looks is it's the distance from here, this gauge line, to the tip of the tool. So if we look at a steel rule and we just eyeball that, we're right around 4.3 inches to there. We look at our offset page and it says 8.6, so that's double. Now the Z offset, that's going to be the distance from the center of the spindle to the tool tip right there. The Y offset is going to be an adjustment forward or back should you need to remove a nib off the end of your part. The R column tells us the size radius on that insert. The C column tells us the orientation. There's a handy little graph there. And then of course the comment column is a handy little tool on this particular control where you can put in your own comment. We like to use it to tell us what's in there in the carousel. Now if we look at a milling tool, you'll see all the milling tools written down there. You'll notice there's no X column. That's because the machine only needs to know the length of that tool. Now that length is measured linearly. So that means it's just a straight measurement from this shoulder to the end of the tool, and that's the number that goes in there. Again, Y offset is the same. You would adjust that if you wanted to put a hole on center, but really that should probably be done in your work coordinates. The R is the radius of the tool. Now in our geometry that should always be set to 0 because we program that out of it on our CAD system. And you'll notice the C is not usable because the machine knows that a mill tool can only be orientated one direction. Now let's look at our tool wear offsets. Again, our wear is meant for just minor adjustments. The geometry is where it's physically located in the machine. Wear is just for small, minute offset adjustments. One thing to note when making adjustments to a turning tool, you'll want to make sure that the angle there matches what you're actually using in the program. If it hasn't been called up yet, that won't get adjusted. You need to wait till the tool's been called up and that angle gets put in there to make your adjustments. Also, another thing to note on milling tools is that this is a radius call out. So if you're circle interpolating a hole and you need to make it a thou bigger, you're really only going to adjust that 5/10 of an inch. One other thing to point out is there are these handy little buttons down here that allow us to make quick adjustments by 1/10 with just one button. You can see it'll go up by 1/10 every time I press that, or go down 1/10 if I press the other. The other handy thing is if you hit over, if you make a wrong adjustment, you can hit this undo button and it'll ask you this little question: do you want to recover the previous data? You can hit execute.